What up, Tibbers? Bunny here, and welcome back to GeoFlight Simulator. So this week, I'm going to be talking about an aircraft carrier that is in this game, the USS John C Stennis. This carrier is actually based on an actual aircraft carrier named the USS Stennis. It's a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier, and let's see. I guess I can't really say too much about what it is because I don't really know too much about aircraft carriers except for the fact that they carry aircraft, hence their name. They sail the seven seas, them swashbuckling pilots. And they're also fun to play around with. Yeah, so actually, you can kind of see it up there in the distance. If you're wondering where it is, let me open up the nav map and close that out. And so, yes, it is over in the waters just west of San Francisco, California. This is where the boat is, and I'll probably refer to it as the boat a lot in this video. So this was an early feature to be added to GeoFlight Simulator by the developer of the game, Xavier Tassin. And for a long time, this wasn't a very popular place to go to. But then, like 2018, according to the GeoFS wiki anyway, in mid-2018, it became a really popular spot for foos and other GeoFS pilots to play around in and say, okay, you see it right there. There's the boat. Now I'm going to attempt to go land there. So I'll cut the throttle. Let's bring the gear in. And you notice this hook right here down on the back end of the F-16. That is a special arresting hook designed to actually capture some special arresting cables that are on this carrier. And the arresting cables are actually a newer feature to this game, and I better slow down or else. Okay, so watch. Oh! Okay, so you see right there, I was flying too fast on that approach. And I better be careful. I think I'm dead. I'm dead. No, I'm not dead. I'm not dead. Well, I'm getting stall warnings. Oh man, I'm overcompensating. And my game's locking up, which isn't helping with my compensations. I'm dead. I'm dead. Oh, okay. Okay. But instead of doing a complete go around, why don't I show you an easier way to get to the carrier? So if I cut the throttle, go over to locations, this button down here, you see my cursor, click on it, and actually let me close that so I can just show you for reference. So you get these lists of locations. You want to click the pull down that says on runway. Actually, it depends whether you want to take off from or land on it. But if you want to take off from it, you can choose to spawn on the deck of this carrier. But I'm actually going to go to approaches, and it's actually the second option right here. So USS John C Stennis, click on that. Oh, I better do that or else I'm about to, okay. Okay, so I've clicked the button and now I am approaching the boat now. So let me go ahead and bring the gear down. I'm also going to apply flap because part of the idea when approaching this carrier is that you want to kill off a bunch of your speed. So if you're able to produce drag, make it because you want to be going slow, like almost stall speeds even. When you touch down, you see right there? You see? The hook grabbed the cable and we're good. Okay. We safely stopped on the deck of the boat. So, yes, those cables work. Actually, a more recent feature to the game, having been added not last fall, but the fall before that. So here I am on the deck, and if I go into the chase cam and zoom out, this is what the carrier looks like. This is what the deck looks like. So you see that part of the texture detail shows 4 catapults. Disclaimer, the catapults do not actually work. You gotta rely on this aircraft's own engine power to take off from here. But fortunately, there are plenty of aircrafts that are able to take off from this spot. In fact, I'm almost lined up for this catapult right here. So let me pretend to simulate sort of a carrier launch, a catapult launch. Okay, stop it. And let's see, let's apply some flaps. So I'm looking at about maybe 200 feet to 400 feet of runway, maybe. Not a lot of runway before the edge of the carrier and possible death. But if I apply elevator so that it's pulling up just a little bit, I've got flaps enabled. I'm going to do these 2 actions in rapid succession. I'm going to throttle the up to the afterburner and release the parking brake. So boom, boom. Okay. So watch. I might not have a lot of room, but looky, looky. If the babe you're flying has a high enough power to weight ratio, you don't even need to worry about the fact that there are no catapults on this carrier. You just take off. No problemo. Now, let me spawn on the deck of the carrier. So I mentioned that a minute ago. That's one of the on runway options. So I'll click that. And there we go. I'm back on the deck of the boat. So, like I said, the Fighting Falcon has an arresting hook on it. And let me be clear about something. F-16s do not actually land on aircraft carriers. They are Air Force planes, not Navy. In fact, you see it right here, USAF or United States Air Force. There. It's not a Navy aircraft. I don't even know if there are other countries that fly the F-16 that use them as Navy aircraft. However, there are actually 2 community-contributed aircraft that are carrier-friendly. One of them is none other than the infamous F-14 Tomcat. Oh, and I think it just caught onto that cable already for a second. But I'm going to give it a moment to spawn in. There you go. If you're familiar with some of the 80s Navy, you know this bird. You love it. It's got its folding wings even. Uh-huh, uh-huh. It's the F-14, baby. Now let's open the wings up again and let me actually go for a little ride in this thing. So yeah, I think actually I can apply the parking brake, throttle up, and then I can release. Oh, let's apply a little flaps. Or else I might not take off. I might not take off. I can take off. There we go. There we go. There we go. I'm good. So anyway, let me fly around and demonstrate this thing's ability. Alright, so you know the drill. You approach the carrier, bring down your landing gear, and let's just land this actual Navy aircraft. And you see the arresting hook there. Now, interestingly, the hook did not originally work on this airplane, but the person who contributed this aircraft, ah, finally did make the thing work. And had I not stopped, I would have had to apply the engine's full power and fly away as quickly as I could. Actually, which leads me to another interesting thing. How do you land other aircraft on the carrier? Well, some aircraft fly slow enough where if you do it properly, you don't even need to worry about the arresting cable. It's slow enough where once you touch down, you are actually able to land it before the end of the carrier. So you have about 1,000 feet. I think you have about 1,000 feet of runway to work with if you consider the entire deck of the boat as one big runway chunk. So even in these small aircraft, the idea when trying to land on them is to land as early as possible. Like right there, right there, right there. Oh, that was textbook. That was a textbook example of stopping on an aircraft carrier soon enough. Oh, and see, I'm even able to turn around with like 200 feet of deck remaining. So some aircraft are able to land just like that. There are some aircraft, however, that I would like to see you try landing this thing on the carrier. For example, take this Embraer Phenom 100, for example. This thing has no reverse thrust, requires high speeds just to stay aloft. I am not going to be able to safely land this aircraft and stop before the end of the deck. I'm going to have to pray to my personal God that I've got enough speed to actually lift up again. Because, yeah, in fact, here we go. I have to pull up because you see, even with brakes, and I know I kind of messed up that landing because I had accidentally kicked up the throttle for a second. But even so, this aircraft has no thrust reversers. So if I like kill the engine throttle for a second, I'm actually holding down on the pull back button that basically brings the engine throttle down. If you do it long enough, it can actually enable thrust reverser, but I am not actually enabling thrust reverser because there is no thrust reverser on this aircraft. Also, there are no spoilers. The only source of drag I have are these flaps, and actually they're providing enough lift to keep me aloft, but barely. I'm stalling. So yeah, some aircraft, and this is a slower example of a small aircraft that lacks thrust reversers and spoilers that just can't land on the carrier. Not possible. And some aircraft are nearly as big as the doggone deck of the carrier, like this A380. In fact, the only larger aircraft that you can select from in GeoFlight Simulator is Antonov's AN225, and both of these aircraft are huge, and I'm not going to be able to safely land on this thing. I'm dead. See you guys. But you know what? You could also use the deck of the boat to try to attempt to practice helicopter landing, because there actually are some helicopters in GeoFlight Simulator. I don't think I mentioned them much. In fact, I think this might be the first time I've mentioned that there are helicopters in this game. But if you have half an idea as to how to fly one of these birds, and yeah, it is pretty difficult, uh, but you can use it to, like that, land on the deck of the carrier. Oh no! I'm dead this time! But yeah, helicopters, slow aircraft, and Navy-fitted aircraft are the best vehicles to attempt to land on the deck of the aircraft carrier. But there's actually one more thing that I want to show you to give you like another half chance at being able to land some other aircraft on this carrier. Uh, but first, let me show you one more, the last aircraft that is fitted out to land on this boat. It's another community contributed aircraft. It's the Grumman E2C Hawkeye. And actually, to deploy the hook, you got to enable the spoiler button. But there you go. Yeah, there we go. That hook works as well. Also, it has a fun little feature where you can fold those wings in. But I'm going to go into more detail about this aircraft another time. Say aye aye if you remember the cray cray from last week's video. Aye aye, matey. Yeah, I'm bringing it back to show another cool thing that you could do at the carrier. So let me go ahead and take off. I applied flap. And as you saw in last week's video, it does not take much speed to get this thing to take off. Like, I hardly need any carrier deck space at all to get this thing airborne. But let me go ahead, cut the engines, reset the flight, and I want to show you something cool. So, if you wanted, you could simulate carrier movement on this flight simulator. Now, here's the thing. Before I do anything else, I should mention that the carrier is an immovable object. It's been in the same spot in the waters just west of San Francisco. It's been there for, what are we talking? I think 10 years? 8 years? I can't recall what the wiki said was the date that Xavier added this carrier. But it's immovable. Always been here. Always will be. So anyway, if the carrier could move, it could be able to achieve speeds above 30 knots. So if I set the wind direction to 180, and now I'm going to set the wind speed to like 17 meters a second, and the plane is starting to move backward because of the wind. But now we're simulating actual carrier movement. So if I release the brake and hit full throttle and pull up, I have to go. My planet needs me. You see? Right there. It's like if the Navy used the cray-cray, it could kind of do it because it's like capable of vertical takeoffs and landing. Actually, if I tuck the flaps in, this thing is capable of some speed. It's like capable of like maybe 100 knots tops, I think is how fast I have been able to get this thing to go in the past. But yeah, that's a thing. Whoa, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do these crazy inversions. But yeah, I'm moving along like 50 knots, but now it's kind of acting like the carrier is moving along. In fact, if you pan the camera down like that, you could kind of see it almost looked like the carrier was moving, which is kind of a cool thing. So let me go ahead and come back to land at the carrier. So the same thing going on here. You just slow up, you slow down. Is it slow up, slow down? I think it's slow down really. And once you get close enough to the carrier, you will go ahead and cut the throttle. And now, as long as you do it carefully, you are basically doing a vertical landing. And I love it. I just love it. I stopped. There we go. Perhaps the Navy could use the cray-cray. Who knows? Maybe someday. Then again, maybe not, because they have to deal with aircraft like the Sukhoi Su-35, and I'm sure as heck that the cray-cray is no match for some aircraft this awesome looking, good in performance, probably also capable of shooting many major aircraft down. In fact, sadly, this aircraft is seeing plenty of war action, but I'm not discussing that. But anyway, this aircraft has high power to weight ratio and can take off either before the end of this carrier or while it's jumping off the deck. But either way, you got the same concept going. You've got this 33 knot headwind, and if you apply engines full power and wait a second, you can take off. Like, see, there, I was able to take off before the end of the carrier. As simple as that, simple as that. And actually, there is one more thing that I want to show you before I call an end to this video. So I'm going to go into options, and I think I'm going to set the weather quality back to normal, so we got 6 knot winds again. So I'm going to go into multiplayer and enable it. But what you're about to see are there. Immediately, you see a foo, you see air puppy. Shout out to you guys. Hey, maybe you'll see my video someday. Air puppy, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to successfully get that XB-70 Valkyrie off of the carrier deck, but you can try. So anyway, as I have said earlier in this video, this is a popular place for other pilots to go flying around. In fact, there's a foo that just hit me and went off the deck of the carrier going the wrong way, and oh, hey, a foo's trying to land the Spitfire on the carrier. Unfortunately, you're not funny. All right, that's it. You're going down. Dang right I am funny. I'm gonna show you who's funny. Wow, okay, we gotta be careful. Oh, there you are. Oh no! Blessed are the humble in heart, for they will not do reckless Yahoo stunts like what I just did a minute ago. That caused me to crash and die. But anyway, you're seeing the point here. Players like to come over to the carrier. Sometimes you do get giant aircraft like A380s and 747s trying to land at this carrier. If that ever happens, you're wise to get off the carrier and just witness the action that's about to unfold. In fact, why don't I cause a little trouble for these folks? So let me get into a 747. So this is a Cargolux 747. Let's see how the people react to seeing this giant airplane coming in to land on their carrier. I wonder what happens. Other than that, I think that just about does it for this week's GeoFlight Simulator video. So, as I mentioned a little earlier, this carrier cannot take you wherever the wind may take you. So, but there are possible places for you to try taking off. Oh, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna make it? Of course not! But I was so close! Ah, ah. Stop it! Stop it! You're tormenting my poor soul in heck! Okay, let's apply engine power and try to get away from this deck, okay? Okay. So anyway, ahoy. Here I am now floating in front of the carrier, so I guess So anyway, like I said, oh, a hot air balloon's going to take off from the carrier. How nice. So anyway, this carrier cannot go wherever the wind may take it. However, next week I will be covering locations. I'll show you several places that the game lets you go to. It's preset locations. And then I'll show you a couple of locations that I like to go around to myself. But anyway, I think I have like one more stunt I want to try up my sleeve, and then otherwise that's going to go ahead and conclude this week's video. But I'm going to try to see if I can actually take off from the carrier. Brakes? Ooh! That was close. So anyway, I'll set the engines full power and I can release the parking brakes and will. So yeah, you saw me play around. Oh! Alright, that's it. An A380's going to mess around with me. See, you're not funny. It's trying to attack the carrier with an A380. Just like what I tried with the 747, and I'm dead again! Ah! Fine. Fine. I'm calling it. Fine, I'm done. I'm done. I'm Space Bun. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you all next week. Sierra Bravo 717 checking out.